Ciao everyone, welcome to this Hatha class. I hope you're feeling good today. Before we begin, if you do have a couple of yoga blocks, grab them, otherwise you can also use thick books. If you have a blanket, also take it next to you. You can use it for the kneeling position, especially if you're not used to stay directly with your knees on the mat or the floor. This class is suitable for beginners, and I will give some more advanced variation for those who are a bit further in their practice. When you're ready to start, please come to sit in a Sukhasana, a cross-leg position, maybe sitting on top of a block or a pillow. If you can't keep your legs crossed, simply open your legs to the side. Try to keep your spine nice and straight. Your hands relax on your legs, or take the Buddha Mudra with the left hand on top and the thumbs touching together, hands resting on your lap. Keep your chin parallel to the floor, and if it's okay for you, close your eyes. Otherwise, keep a soft, relaxed gaze toward the floor in front of you. Take a moment to fully arrive on your yoga mat, with your body and with your mind. Aware of the space around you, where you are in this specific moment. Noticing the sounds and the noises around you. And take a moment to acknowledge your own posture, the way that you are holding your body up right now. Perhaps feeling the contact between your legs and the floor beneath you, the length of your spine, the weight of your arms and hands resting on your legs, the position of your head on top of your body. Slowly building up a picture of how your body feels right now. Noticing any physical sensations or feelings and emotions. Then come to rest your awareness on your own breath, following a few of your own inhalations and exhalations. If you have difficulties in feeling your own breath, then place one hand on the belly and the other one on the chest. It might help you to physically experience this rising and falling sensation of the breath. Remember that you can always use your breath as an anchor to the present moment. So when you notice that you get distracted throughout the practice, choose to rest your awareness on your own breath. Now join your palms in Namaste in front of your heart center, setting your intention for the practice today. Perhaps simply reminding yourself the reason why you're practicing yoga in this phase of your life. And intentions are welcome here, just make sure that you know why you are doing this. As a gesture of respect, bring your forehead to your fingertips, bowing in front of yourself. And slowly release your hands on your legs. You can keep your eyes closed if you like. We practice a short pranayama session. Pranayama is a breath work. We will use the Ujjayi breath. The breath is sound, contracting the throat. It will sound something like this. If you don't like this type of breathing technique, or maybe there is a bit of sore throat, then simply inhale and exhale through the nose. I'm going to count each exhalation up to 10. Exhale all the air out now. Inhale. Exhale 1. Inhale. Exhale 2. Inhale. Exhale 3. Inhale. Exhale 4. Inhale. Exhale 5. Inhale. Exhale 6. Inhale. Exhale 7. Inhale. Exhale 8. Inhale. Exhale 9. Inhale. Exhale 10. Keep breathing and breathing out. If you like, join me for 3 Om. Breathe in. Slowly come back to your regular breath, maybe keeping the Ujjayi breath flowing. And then slowly roll all the way forward, come into a tabletop position, making contact with the ground with your own hands. Feel free to use a blanket underneath your knees. Stack your shoulders on top of your elbows and wrists, the hips on top of your knees. As you inhale, arch your spine, sending the chest forward for cow pose, look straight or up. And as you exhale, round your spine, gaze to the belly, chin to the chest, cat position. Inhale in, cow pose. Exhale, cat pose. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Inhale, come back to a neutral position and tuck your toes. Exhale, extend your legs into Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Spread your fingers wide. Bend the knees as you need in here so that you can press back, extending your spine. Don't worry if the heels don't touch the floor, especially if it's the morning and if you're at the beginning of the practice. Keep looking toward your knees. Keep breathing and breathing out. Notice how the whole body feels in here. Notice your hands, your arms, the shoulders, the neck, your back, your hips, your glutes, your legs, the ankles, your feet. With the next inhalation, slowly walk your feet 10 centimeters behind your hands. For Uttanasana, Standing forward fold. If you can keep your legs extended, use books or blocks under your hands. And then position your body weight, equally distributing your body weight in hands and feet. Take a nice inhalation here, and then as you exhale, release your chin to the chest, gaze in between your legs. There is a bit of activation on the inside of your legs. The body weight is equally distributed on your feet, on the edges of the feet, on the heels and the toes. Same for your hands. Allowing the force of gravity to elongate your back and release your neck and here. Mindful if you're creating any tension in the shoulders area. Notice if there are any physical sensation on the back of your legs, especially on the hamstrings. With your next inhalation, move your feet toward the sides of your mat with your toes facing out. And then squat down any amount for Malasana, the yogi squat. It can be a high squat, it can be a lower squat. If you like it, you can use the blocks, 1 or 2 blocks, and sit on top of your block. If you don't need the blocks, then release them. If you are quite down with your buttocks but the heels are up, you can also position your blocks or books underneath your heels as a support. If you don't need your hands in front of you on the mat, then take them in Namaste with your palms touching together, just in front of your chest, using your upper arms to press outward toward the inner knees. The knees are facing the same direction of your toes. If you are more experienced, you might want to keep your feet parallel to each other, your knees on the same direction, and extending the spine and lengthening through the spine a bit more. The chin parallel to the floor, looking just on the floor in front of you. As you keep breathing here, noticing how it feels in this position, maybe resting the awareness on the groins and the hip area. And slowly and mindfully release your buttocks down on the floor, maybe on the blanket, and come to an easy sit. With your feet on the floor, your knees, hips apart. If you are more advanced, then keep your knees together and your big toes touching together. We go for a twist. Your right hand behind you on the floor, maybe on a block if you can't quite reach for the floor and you have to lean back, then use a support behind you. Keep your spine nice and straight as you inhale here, lengthen. And as you exhale, wrap your left elbow or left arm on your knees. Keep your knees and hips in position and start twisting from the mid-spine. Don't move your knees, don't move your hips, just rotating your torso from the mid-spine, T12. Keeping the gaze toward the back shoulder. Without overdoing with your neck, the cervical spine is quite mobile, so focus more on the mid-spine and allowing the neck to just rotate at the same direction, the same amount. Avoid to round the spine if possible. Avoid to twist it too much, especially if there is scoliosis or any other condition in the spine. When you inhale, next time come back to the center and change the position of your arms. So the left hand now is behind you on the floor or on a support and your right arm is wrapped around your knees. As you inhale, lengthen through the spine, and as you exhale, twist maybe a bit more toward the other side, so toward your left. Keep breathing here, maybe Ujjayi breath. As you inhale, come back to the center. Exhale, extend both legs in front of you, flexing your feet, toes and knees pointing out. Inhale, bend your right knee to your chest, and exhale, pass your right foot outside your left knee. Now here you need to adjust for yourself based on the hip mobility. You might want to sit on a bolster or block in here. We go for a twist. Right hand behind you on the floor or support. In a left arm, reach up to the ceiling, lengthen through the spine. Keep the length, and as you exhale, start rotating and twisting to your right. Now with your left arm, either wrap it around your right knee, pivoting in here. If you're more advanced, pass your left elbow outside your right knee, twisting a bit deeper into Marichasana. Keep breathing here. Inhale, come back to the center. Exhale, release your right leg toward the front of the mat. Inhale, left knee to your torso. Exhale, pass the left foot outside your right leg. Left hand behind you. Inhale, right arm reach up toward the ceiling. Exhale, twist to your left side. A gentle reminder when you notice that your mind got lost in your thoughts, instead of following the storyline, the movie that is playing in your mind, step back from those ruminations, come back inside the body, notice how it feels, what muscles or fascias are involved in that asana, notice how it is your breath. And if you're using the Ujjayi breath, use it on your advantage to really rest the awareness on that breathing in and breathing out sensation and sound that you hear. Then slowly come back to the center and release both legs in front of you. Now as you inhale, bend both knees and place your feet down on the floor. Your hands behind you, fingertips facing outside or maybe toward the back of the mat, depending on the mobility in here. Then press with your hands and feet and come up with your buttocks any amount. So it can be just a few centimeters up or all the way up on the same level of your knees. Open with your chest, sending the shoulder blades together toward the back. Keep your chin to the chest, or maybe you can drop the head back. Maybe opening slightly the mouth here, releasing a bit of the throat area. Two more breaths in reverse table. Then chin to the chest, and slowly as you exhale, release your buttocks down on the floor. Cross your legs together and find your way to roll forward. Tucking the toes and extending the legs, rolling all the way up, one vertebra at a time, coming up to stand, the head coming as last. If you are not there yet, walk to the very front of your mat, coming into Tadasana, mountain pose. I suggest you to keep your feet hips apart unless you're used to, and then in that case, keep your feet together. Surya Namaskara A, Sun Salutation. As you inhale, send your arms up toward the ceiling, looking up for Urdhva. And as you exhale, dive forward in Uttanasana, hands toward the floor, doesn't matter if they don't touch. Inhale, extend your spine in halfway up, maybe using the hands on your knees to really lengthen from the spine, chin parallel to the floor. As you exhale, release your hands on the floor, bend the knees and step back to a plank position. From here for Chaturanga Dandasana, release your knees down on the floor, bend the elbows close to your chest and release everything down. Inhale, press with the pubic bone down on the floor and come up with your chest and the head, Cobra, Bhujangasana. Exhale, release down, tucking the toes and then pressing all the way up and back into Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. We stay here 5 breaths. If you're more familiar with the sun salutation, then go ahead without modifying. If you're tired in downward facing dog or there is any wrist condition or shoulders pain, then take this variation, child position, with the knees opening to the sides of the mat and releasing the forehead toward the floor, your arms relax on the mat or the hands relax next to your feet. Then take your variation, we stay here one more breath, either down dog or child position. And then with your next inhalation, step or jump your feet to the front of the mat, halfway up, extend your spine, maybe hands on the legs here to help you. Exhale, fold toward your knees, maybe bend the knees if needed. Inhale, rise all the way up, nice circle with your arms for Urdhva, looking up, maybe hands together this time. Exhale, come all the way back to Tadasana, mountain pose. One more round. Inhale, arms reach up, Urdhva, look up. Exhale, fold forward, Uttanasana, hands toward the floor, bend the knees if needed. Inhale, halfway up, extend the spine. Exhale, step or jump back for Chaturanga Dandasana. You pass through the plank, maybe knees on the floor if needed, look down on the floor. Inhale, press up either to Cobra or upward facing, which has the knees up. Exhale, downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. 5 breaths here or in child position. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, step or jump your feet to the front of the mat. Exhale, fold toward your knees. Inhale, rise all the way up, Urdhva. Exhale, Tadasana. 1 round, Surya Namaskara B, bend your knees. Inhale in Utkatasana, chair pose, pass your arms over the head. Exhale, release all the way down in Uttanasana, the forward fold. Inhale, extend your spine and prepare in here. Exhale, step or jump back, Chaturanga Dandasana. Again, knees on the floor if needed. Inhale, press up, either Cobra or upward facing, shoulders down. Exhale, downward facing dog, just for a moment. Inhale, step your right foot in between your hands, the back heel is down on the floor. For Warrior 1, Virabhadrasana, arms reaching over the head, the front knee is bent 90 degrees or more. If you can't quite press the back heel down on the floor, don't force it. If possible, keep your back leg extended. We stay here a few more breaths so that you catch the alignment in this position. If your hips cannot square to the front of the mat, don't force it and keep your hips opening to the side. Your arms either extended toward the ceiling, maybe hands together looking up. If there is any shoulders complaint, then interlace your fingers behind your back and stay here opening your chest. Keep bending the front knee, stretching the back leg in here. Take a deep inhalation here. And then as you exhale, release your hands down on the floor. Either step back to the dog or have a vinyasa, which is this part of Urdhva Chaturanga as you exhale. Upward facing dog as you inhale. And then we do meet in a downward facing dog as you exhale. Inhale, step your left foot in between the hands. The back heel is down on the floor for Warrior 1 on the other side. Again, bending the front knee. Your arms reaching over the head, maybe hands together, or taking the other variation that I showed you on the first side. Keep breathing here. And breathing out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Nice inhalation here. Exhale, release your hands down. Step back to the dog or have a vinyasa here. We step back in downward facing dog. Only 3 breaths here or child pose. 1, 2, 3. Inhale, step or jump your feet to the front of the mat. Lengthen. Exhale, fall to your knees. Bend your knees deeply. Inhale in Utkatasana, chair pose. Exhale, Tadasana, mountain pose. Separate your feet hips apart. Folding all the way with your index and middle fingers catching your big toes. You might want to bend your knees in here. For Padangusthasana, as you inhale, lengthen through the spine, and as you exhale, bend the elbows to the sides, releasing your gaze in between your legs. Keep your spine lengthening instead of rounding. Then see if you can extend your legs a bit more. Keep breathing here. Body weight also toward the toes, toward the inside of your feet. Avoid creating tension in the shoulders here. Feel free to modify using the blocks under the hands as we did at the beginning of the practice. Then give more body weight to your heels. If you have blocks, catch your blocks and place them under your hands. Then step your left foot all the way back to the back of your mat and release the left knee down on the floor, maybe on the blanket. From this position, frame your right foot with your hands or with your block. The left foot is down on the floor. Now stay here or send your right knee further forward to the front of the mat, sinking your hips in between your legs, stretching the inner thighs. Careful if you're using the blocks, don't create tension in the shoulders, the neck is long. Stay here if you have a good balance. Then as you inhale, move up with your arms, Anjaneyasana, a crescent lunge, your arms passing over your head, the chest is opening in here, looking straight or up to the ceiling without losing the stretching happening on the inside of the thigh. Take a nice breath in here. And as you exhale, release your hands down on the floor. Slide your blocks or hands backward and extend your right leg. Careful here, if there is any knee problem, then bend your right knee. Keep your right foot flexed unless there is an ankle injury. In that case, release the right foot toward the floor. For half split, gaze down on the floor, allow your spine to round if needed. If it's easy for you, then maybe you don't need the blocks, or you can use the blocks to work more toward full split, sliding your feet in opposite direction. Don't open with your hips, so stay in the midline. Hanumasana, monkey pose. Always respecting the body boundaries. Aware of the fact that the body is not the same every day. So one day you might be able to do one position quite easily and then another day not so much. If you are in full split, use your arms to press a bit more. And then everybody bending the right knee. If you have the blocks under your hands, keep your blocks as they are. For lizard pose, as you inhale, open your right arm to the ceiling. Open and slightly twisting here, really opening the chest. And then as you exhale, pass your right hand on the inside of your right hand. Now, if you find yourself that in this position, so your shoulders are closing, that's not ideal. So let's move the right foot toward the right edge of the mat. You create a bit more space in here. The right hip is opening to the right. Again, you can use the blocks underneath your hands. If it's easy for you, you can release your forearms down on the floor. And if you are halfway between those two situations, then use a block underneath your forearms. Keep your gaze down on the floor, just a gentle reminder for your shoulders. Keep your arms engaged so that you don't sink your neck in between your shoulders, but you keep a long neck. Imagine that you want to stack a lot of necklace on your neck. Now either stay here or we go for a twist with your hands down on the floor, bending the left knee, passing your right arm up and over and catching your back foot. Keep opening with the right knee to the right, the chest is opening to the ceiling. If it doesn't happen, please don't force it. If you have the foot, please release it down. Come back with both hands on the floor, nice semicircle with your right hip, and coming back to a tabletop position. Now we step the left foot in between the hands so that it's framed with the hands. Bending the left knee. Again, you can use the blocks underneath your hands. For a low lunge situation, release the dorso of the back foot down on the floor. And if possible, send your hips forward, left knee moving toward the front of the mat, sinking the hips in here. Stay, or inhaling, move up with your arms, reaching up and over, Crescent lunge, maybe looking up toward the ceiling. Don't open your hips toward the right, stay in position. Okay, breathe in here. And slowly, as you exhale, release your hands down on the floor. Slide your blocks or hands backward for half split. Extending the left leg, flexing the left foot if possible. If you're working toward the full split, then slide your feet in opposite direction, keeping your hips square to the front of the mat. Keep your gaze down on the floor, keep breathing and breathing out. If you are into the full split, allow your feet to come back with the left knee bent 90 degrees. For lizard pose, as you inhale, left arm reach up and over, open your chest in here, slightly twisting. And then as you exhale, pass your left hand on the inside of your left foot, moving again the left foot toward the left edge of your mat. Again, keep your hands on the blocks or release your forearms down on the floor if it's easy for you. The gaze down toward the floor. If you're down, come on your hands, stay or take the variation with a twist. Inhaling left arm passing up and over toward the back of the mat, bending the back knee and maybe catching your right foot. Keep the left knee opening to the left, the chest opening to the ceiling in this twist. Maybe looking up toward the back shoulder. If you have the foot, release it, come back to the center, nice semicircle with your left hip. Tuck your toes on the floor, keep your knees, hips apart. As you inhale, move up with your torso, hands on the lower back, camel pose, Ustrasana, send your hips forward. It's a back bend, it's already happening as soon as you move your hips forward. Keep your spine extending and open the chest. So send your shoulders down and the shoulder blades coming closer together on your back. Stay here or release the head back. If it's easy, hands on your heels. Don't sit on your heels, the hips are still moving forward, keeping the back bend happening. Keep breathing. And breathing out. Breathe in. Breathing out. Hands on your lower back, chin to the chest. Slowly rounding the spine and coming into Balasana. Child pose. You can rest your hands next to your feet or for a shoulder stretching, keep your arms extended in front of you. Bend the elbows and take your hands in Namaste behind your head. Slowly release your hands down and press up to a tabletop position first. Then we sit in hero pose, Virasana, with a bit of options here. Maybe you just sit your buttocks on the heels. Maybe you can separate the knees and feet and place 1 or 2 blocks or books underneath your buttocks. If you find it easy, maybe you can directly position your buttocks down on the mat. If they don't touch, don't hang in there, too much pressure on the knees, so make sure that you have the support of something under your buttocks. Now, if you find it already intense, you should feel a stretching happening in the quads, not in your knees. If it's happened here in the knees, wrong. Let's do something about it. So either, as I said, position props underneath your buttocks or simply come to sit in a cross-legged position. If you find it easy instead, then bring your hands toward the back, fingertips facing your feet. Stay here, or maybe forearms on the floor. The knees are still down on the floor, don't lift them up. If it's easy, back of the head down on the floor. Supta Virasana. 2 more breaths in whatever variations you are practicing right now. If you're down in Supta Virasana, use your arms, chin to the chest, press up, and come to sit in Virasana. Everybody from here, as you inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, release your left hand toward the back and twist to your left. It's okay if the back hand doesn't touch the floor. Stay here. And breathe out. 1 more, breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in, come back to the center, arms reach up. Exhale, twist to your right side. Stay here. Keep your spine nice and long if possible. 1 more, breathe in. Breathe out. Inhale, come back to the center, arms reach up. Exhale, left hand toward the floor, maybe touching. Side flexion toward your left. So maybe you feel an elongation on the right side of your torso, looking down on the mat, or if the neck is fine, look up. Inhale, come back to the center, arms reach up. Exhale, right hand to the floor on your right side, side flexion on the other side. Maybe noticing now the left side of the torso elongating. Almost done. Inhaling, coming back to the center. Exhale, release your hands down on the floor, slowly and mindfully coming up to a tabletop position. And then extend your left leg back, tucking the toes on the floor and allowing your body to swing back and forward, giving more body weight to your wrists and then to your toes. Repositioning the kneecaps in their position. Now, if you're advanced, keep that leg extended and extend the other one, swinging back and forward with both legs. If you find it hard, release the first knee down on the floor, which was the left, and extend the right leg so that you can swing back and forward on the other side. Then let's come back with the knees down on the floor. Take a nice inhalation here, sending the body weight forward. And as you exhale, bend the elbows and through half chaturanga, release your belly down, the chest down and the forehead down on the mat. For Bhujangasana, Cobra Pose, keep your hands under the shoulders with your elbows toward the chest. Press your pubic bone down on the floor. Press the doors of the feet down on the floor, engaging the legs so that the knees lift slightly up. And then as you inhale, move up with your torso and the head coming as last in Bhujangasana, Cobra Pose. Stay here. Maybe some of you can press even higher. The shoulders are down and relaxed. Keep breathing here. And then slowly release everything down on the mat. Shalambhasana, locust pose. Interlace your fingers behind your back. Extend the elbows as you can, sending the shoulders back. Keep pressing with the dorsal of the feet down, the pubic bone pressing down. As you inhale, move up with your torso and your head. Keep your gaze down on the mat. If you find it easy, then lift your feet as well, maybe with the toes touching together. Keep breathing here. And breathing out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Last one, breathe in. Breathe out, release everything. Also your hands down on the floor. Give a nice swing to your hips now, right and left. Place your hands under your shoulders, tuck your toes, press all the way up to plank. And exhale, release into downward facing dog, extending the spine back here. As you inhale, rise your right leg up to the ceiling, pointing your right foot for three-legged dog. And exhale, step your right foot in between the hands, the back heel down on the floor, rise up into Warrior 2, Virabhadrasana 2. There is a nice distance in between your feet. The front knee is bent, your hips opening in opposite direction. The back foot parallel to the end of your mat. Arms opening on a T shape unless your arms are tired. In the case, release your hands maybe on your waist. Keep your gaze to the front hand. Breathing in. Breathing out. For Trikonasana triangle pose, extend your front leg, tilt your pelvis back and up. And as you exhale, release your right hand anywhere on your right leg. You can also use a block and position your hand on the block. If the other arm is okay with that, extend it toward the ceiling, otherwise release your left hand on your buttocks. If the neck is fine, look up toward the ceiling, otherwise look down toward the mat. Keep breathing here. Keep the side flexion with the rotation in your torso, the chest opening toward the ceiling. It doesn't matter how low you go, you can actually stay higher up, but keeping this rotation in the torso, the hips opening as well. Let's look down on the floor, bend your front knee, inhale, rise up into Warrior 2. And as you exhale, Parashvokanasana, forearm on your right knee or right hand outside your right foot, maybe using a block in here. If you want to work with the other arm, pass it over your head, otherwise again, rest your hand on your buttocks. Keep opening the chest toward the ceiling. If the neck bothers you, instead of looking up, just look down on the floor. Keep a bit of body weight also on the back foot. And then slowly as you inhale, come back all the way up. Parallel your feet over the center. We go on the other side. Your left foot turn to the back of the mat. Bend your front knee and come to Warrior 2 on the other side. Trikonasana, triangle pose. Inhale, extend your front leg, tilt your pelvis. Exhale, release your left hand anywhere on your left leg or on a block. Right arm reaching to the ceiling, or if you like, release your right hand on your buttocks. Gaze up to the ceiling or down on the floor. Look down on the floor, bend your front knee, inhale, come back up to Warrior 2. Exhale, Parashvokanasana, extend the triangle, forearm on your left knee or left hand outside your left foot. Gentle reminder, keep a bit of body weight to the back leg as well. Keep breathing here and breathing out. Breathing and breathing out. Breathing. Breathing out. Look down and come all the way up. Parallel your feet toward each other and open your arms to the outside. Prasarita Padottanasana. Nice breathing in here. Exhale, fold forward, hands toward the floor. You can use the blocks in here if they don't touch the floor. Or you can separate your feet wider apart. Keep breathing here. If your hands are on the floor, bend the elbows backward and send it at the top of the head toward the floor. Keep sending a bit of body weight also to your toes, gaze in between your legs. If your head is down on the floor, you can come up into tripod, headstand variation. If you're up in tripod, release your feet down on the floor. As you inhale, extend your legs and extend your arms and move your hands a bit further forward compared to your yoga mat. So we go outside our comfort zone. In here, press back in a kind of wide-legged dog. If you have the mobility, release your forearms on the floor. So you take a dolphin variation. Keep pressing back with the shoulders. Keep looking in between your legs. And then slowly press up on your hands and roll all the way up. Extend your arms over the head. Move your feet, opening your toes toward the side. And as you exhale, come to goddess pose, bending the knees and bending the elbows, squatting all the way down. Keep breathing here. And breathing out. Breathing in. Breathing out. Breathing in. Breathing out. Inhale, extend your legs. And exhale, turn your right foot to the right, so toward the front of the mat. And exhale, release your hands back and step back to downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Inhale, left leg reach up to the ceiling for three-legged dog. Exhale, step your left foot in between your hands. From here, give all the body weight to your left leg and step your right foot next to the left one and fold. As you breathe in next time, bend your knees and come to chair pose, Utkatasana, arms reaching up. Exhale, maybe sit even a bit more in here. One more breath in here. Slowly start sitting even more. Pass your arms in front of you. Squat, squat, squat. And then come to sit into Navasana, boat pose. Knees up, hands on the floor if you need a bit more support, or arms parallel to the floor, hands facing the ceiling. If it's easy, extend your legs. Keep your gaze toward your feet. Keep breathing here. Shaking is good. Keep breathing. And breathing out. One more, breathe in. Breathe out. Release your feet on the floor. Give yourself a nice hug here. Taking a moment for appreciate our own body. Befriending our own body. Noticing the way that we speak to our body. And then extend your legs in front of you. If you like, sit on a pillow or a bolster for Paschimottanasana, a seated forward fold. Keep your spine nice and tall. And then as you exhale next time, start moving from your hips. You might need to bend your knees and move your hands forward. If you have a yoga strap or a belt of sort, you can loop it around your feet and use it to help you in the fold. Don't force it. Alternatively, you can catch your ankles from the outside or the edges of your feet. Keep your gaze down toward your legs. Round your spine if needed. If you're a bit more advanced, keep your legs extended. Keep your spine nice and tall. And then fold, keeping that length in your spine. As you inhale, move up with your torso. Exhale, open your legs on a V shape for Upavista Konasana. I just turn so you can see. Your feet most probably will be outside your yoga mat unless you are also going for the long edge of your mat. Flex your feet, toes and knees facing up. Again, you can place a bolster or a pillow underneath your buttocks to support you, and you can also use your hands behind you to help you here. Stay or fold forward, maybe with the hands in front of you or your forearms down on the floor. If you want to help yourself, you can also grab the outside of your ankles. But again, don't force it, respect the body boundaries in here, mindful when you reach your limits. If you overstretch, it's not only the muscles, but also the ligaments and all the fascia, the connective tissues that can go wrong. And they become tense in response to the overstretch, and so it's going to be even more difficult to elongate the fascias and the muscles the next time, and most probably it's going to hurt. And if you repeat this overstretching, then problems can arise, also serious problems. So be mindful when you do this type of position. Hatha yoga gives you the time to really enter in the position, align yourself, but also because you spend a lot of time in the position in a sort of passive stretching, you really need to be mindful to not overdo. It's different when you go for a vinyasa, which can be maybe a bit too challenging if you're at the beginning of a yoga practice. But at the same time, in a vinyasa, you flow in and out of the poses. It's more a dynamic stretching. So the risks are different. So be really mindful when you practice hatha yoga to respect your own body. And if for any reason you are a bit detached from your body, so you don't really feel it, take your time to reconnect with your own body. Slowly move your head and chest up. For Baddha Konasana, we close the feet together with the knees opening to the sides. Don't force the knees to fall down on the floor. You can support them with pillows and blocks. You can decide the position of your feet compared to your pubic bone. So if you slide them further forward or toward your pubic bone, you will see the difference happening in the knees and the hips. So find something that suits you today. Keep your hands on your feet, opening the feet as a new book, or simply rest your hands next to your feet on the floor. If you find it easy, then start folding forward, maybe straight spine or round your spine in here. And keep breathing here, noticing how it is your breath. As you inhale, move up with your head on your chest. And as you exhale, close your knees together, facing the front of your mat. Place your hands in front of you, nice inhalation here. And as you exhale, roll all the way down. Alternately, just curl toward one side and come down on your back. Move your feet a bit closer to your buttocks and flatten your lower back, sending the tailbone up. Setu Bandhasana bridge pose, your hands next to your buttocks. Keep your knees parallel to each other, hips is apart. Press with your feet and hands and rise up with your buttocks, lower back, middle back, maybe even the upper back. Stay here, maybe interlacing your hands together, opening the chest a bit more. Keep your chin to the chest. Soft gaze toward the ceiling or close your eyes if you like. Separate your hands and slowly with your next exhalation release all back down on the floor. Send your knees to touch to each other and place your hands in Namaste in between your eyebrows for a moment. Reconnected with your own breath and that intention that you set at the beginning of the practice, the reason why you're practicing yoga. And slowly release your hands on the floor next to your buttocks and separate your knees once again. We do a second second and last round of the bridge pose. So come up when you're ready. If you are used to do full wheel, Urdhva Dhanurasana, in that case, hands next to your ears, elbows bent parallel to each other. Roll the top of the head back and then press up. Come in all the way up in a deeper back bend. Careful here, do it only if you feel like you're warm up enough, if it's part of your regular practice. Maybe you got assisted to this pose by your yoga teacher in the studio, so you know the alignments a bit better. If you are in the full wheel, chin to your chest. If you are into the bridge, release the all back down on the floor. This time bring in the knees to your chest, hug them with your hands and make circles with your hips in both directions, massaging your own spine. Release your knees to your left side and twist to your right to counterpose the back bend with a twist. As you inhale, bring your knees back to the center and then release them to your right as you open the left arm to the left and twist to the left. Notice if you feel any difference between the twist happening in the left side compared to the first side that you just practiced. And slowly come back to the center. Separate your knees for Ananda Balasana, happy baby, feet facing the ceiling, hands on your legs or hands on the outside of your feet, chin to your chest, the all back down on the floor, maybe gently rocking side to side. And what if you fall on one side is fun, and you can always use a bit of a core engagement to come back to the center. Then slowly release, come back to the center. Place your feet down on the floor. If you are a bit more advanced in your yoga practice and you usually practice Shirshasana, headstand at the end of your practice, go ahead. Otherwise, if you are ready for the final relaxation, take Shavasana, corpse pose, extending your legs and allowing the feet to open toward the sides. The back is down on the floor. You can support either your back or your legs with a bolster. Your hands relax on your belly or maybe on the outside toward the floor. Maybe covering yourself with an extra layer here. If there is any lower back pain, instead of keeping your legs extended, bend the knees once again and take your knees together, touching, flattening the lower back down on the floor. If you don't like to stay down in Shavasana, simply come to a sitting position. If you're practicing headstand, go ahead. Maybe stay up to 10 breaths into the inversion. Remember not to jump if you are practicing the headstand. And then when you finish your practice of the inversion, come down in child pose for 2-3 breaths before taking Shavasana or a sitting meditation position. If you're lying down on the mat, allow the whole body weight to press down on the floor, allowing the earth to support you a bit more in this position. Maybe releasing some tensions from the body to the ground. Imagine those tensions melting down on the floor. And if there are any worries or preoccupations, allow those thoughts as well to melt down on the floor. Leave them to the earth to take care of them. As you create more space in your body and more head space in your mind for the rest of your week. Feel free to stay longer in Shavasana. If you're ready to come to sit, simply curl toward one side and come up to sit, keeping your eyes closed. Setting your intention now for the rest of your day or rest of your evening. Getting clear in where you're going next. Maybe taking with you a bit of this awareness that you cultivate during this class together. Allow a moment to reconnect with your own breath, allowing the breath to flow in and out through the nose. Or maybe exhale through the mouth for a couple of times, releasing a bit of tension from the throat area as well. Knowing that you can always come back to your breath throughout the day, and use your breath to stay present to the here and now. Maybe commit yourself to find a couple of opportunities throughout your day to be mindful, to simply stop and observe your own breath, following the inhalations and exhalations as they come. Practicing mindfulness, the awareness of the present moment without judging. Om Tat Sat Hari Om. Hari Om Tat Sat Hari Om. Om Tat Sat Hari Om. Hari Om Tat Sat Hari Om. Om Tat Sat Hari Om. Hari Om Tat Sat Hari Om. What it is, simply is. Join your palms in Namaste in front of your heart center now. And as we started our practice, we bring the forehead to the fingertips, bowing in front of ourselves. Thank you for practicing together. Namaste. I hope you enjoyed this class. As usual, let me know in the comment section how it was for you. If you have any questions or feedback, please do let me know. Otherwise, I wish you well. Take good care of yourself. See you next time. Ciao!